its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to the Ask the Expert Show with local celebrity host Steveo. Sit back each week while Steveo educates you with live in-studio experts, such as lawyers, doctors, home improvement, and financial experts in their field. Call in and have your questions answered each week at 888-565-1470. Now, here is Steveo with today's expert in their field.
Hey, good afternoon. We got a lot of emails last week, people saying, where is your show out of? So we are out of beautiful Boca Raton, Florida. This is the Ask the Expert Show, and today, this is a show we get the most tweeters or twitters or something. But anyway, it's our family law show with our board-certified lawyer, Tina Lewert. Her offices are in Boca Raton. And we sure missed you last time because two people called and said, "Where's Tina at?"
Oh, I think I was.
You got a following.
Yeah, well, that's nice to hear.
I think
I caught something that was going around and knocked me down for a few days.
So people know this is your show, and we're also on 95.3 FM. If you'd like to watch today's show, give everybody your website.
Sure, the website is www.lewertlaw.com, Lewert law.com.
You know, we've been doing the show for a long time, and we get all these new emails, people going, I didn't know you did a show on family law, so you're certified.
Mm-hmm. Board certified. So
Tell everybody what that means.
What does that mean? So that means that I'm an expert in my field, which is marital and family law. The Florida Bar designates a number of areas of law. You can be board certified in civil trial practice, criminal practice. One of the areas that they certify people in is marital and family law, also known as divorce, custody, alimony, all those things that we do. And what that means is that, have a certain number of years of experience, a certain level of complex trial practice, and a certain number of trials I've had and things like that. They make you go through some other rigors, some testing, pretty difficult, complex, high-level stuff that you need to know and be aware of. And there's an ethical standard. There are judicial and peer recommendations that we have to get. So it's really just a way that the Florida Bar is trying, and there are a number of other states, and even there's a national board certification. But any entity that does board certification is trying to help the public ensure that they can find a good attorney. So and
there's not very many board certified family attorneys in the state of Florida.
Correct. It's something like, I did the math, it's like a tenth of a percent or something like that. So there are over 100,000 attorneys in the state of Florida. Only 275 of us are board certified in marital and family law.
That's amazing.
It is. It's and you can be board certified, like I said, in other areas, but for family law, there are really relatively very few of us.
And something I didn't tell you, because I was going to tell you last time, we are now on Facebook now.
Oh.
And we're really doing a lot of social media now.
Do I have you on there? Let's see.
I don't know. This is
What's
done
the
by
Facebook page?
I don't know. This is Freddie's.
Oh.
He puts it on Facebook now.
Okay.
And he's got a heck of a lot of people. On our Twitter, we've got 1,200 followers. So I'm going to ask you some questions. What we've started doing is we've started taking questions from Twitter for you. Mm-hmm. Now, they can still call you at your office or they can email you, but wow, I got some really interesting questions. Now, I don't know maybe this could be from New York, but is there such thing as a legal separation?
Not in Florida.
Okay, so they must be, that's what happens when you have social media. We had someone who wrote us, what is legal separation?
Well, although I get that question from a lot of people in Florida that think there might be legal separation, and then some people are surprised when I tell them, nope, there's no such thing as legal separation in the state of Florida. So as long as if you're living separately, you're not living in the same house, you're considered separated.
Well, Florida's a no-fault state. When you first told me it the first time, probably about 2 years ago, I said, it wasn't my fault when I got a divorce.
Right. It's no one's fault.
But that's not really what it is.
Yeah. What it technically means is that in Florida, we don't have to prove certain grounds to get the divorce. I know in the state of New York, you used to have to show adultery or abandonment or abuse just to get the divorce. Like you couldn't just say, hey, we don't love each other anymore and we're cool parting ways and all that. So we don't have that in Florida. All you have to do is allege in the petition, in the pleadings that you file, that the marriage is irretrievably broken, and that's a legal phrase, and it just means that the marriage is over. There's nothing the court can do to put it back together, and that's it. And also, what no fault means is that we don't punish our spouse for their bad behavior. So, unfortunately, sometimes that kind of really upsets people when they hear that. What do you mean? I've been a victim of all this emotional or physical abuse, and
probably cheating, and
unless there are, and I have to say there are certain exceptions if there are severe damages that might give rise to like a civil claim for damages, but without something like that, it's not going to make a difference in the case. Unfortunately, it's not going to entitle you to something more or take away something from the abusing spouse that they would otherwise, that everybody would otherwise be entitled to. So
you have such a calming voice. I
do.
Well,
that's good news.
Well, what I'm saying, it's bad. Divorce. There's nothing fun about a divorce. So you get people coming in. Probably it's got to be very sad. I'm sure you've gone through some tissues.
A lot of we own stock in Kleenex. No, we don't. But there's a lot of tears, and understandably, you're dealing with your family, your relationship, your children. It's everything to people. So it's very emotional. No, and I appreciate that. I've had people say that to me. Yes, I do consider myself a calm attorney.
And how you explain things too.
Yeah.
You don't talk over. I mean, you're so easy to keep up with and to follow. So
an attorney needs to be assertive, somewhat aggressive, but not overbearing. I see some people go in, and it's just a matter of style. Some people go into court and they pound their fists and flail their arms. And when you're in family law, well, I personally don't think any of that goes over well with the judge. Some of the theatrics and things that you see on TV, but also, in family law, you have a judge is making the decision, not a jury. So when you do have a jury, sometimes I think some of those things you're putting on a show a little bit, and in family law, it's a totally different thing. You're not doing jury trials; you're doing what they call bench trials, which is a trial in front of one trier of fact, the judge, and he or she is a person. And most of the time, they don't want the theatrics. They don't want that. They want attorneys and parties to come in and explain things in a logical manner, a reasonable, rational. They want to see that. They want to see that about the people. Because the more drama that they see, I think it's potentially a turnoff, and it can really affect your case. So I think that I've found that my style has done well for me.
when a person comes in, wants to sit down and talk with you, what's an average when someone says that? First of all, how long do you spend with them the first time?
Usually at least an hour. Usually between 1 and 2 hours, okay. I would say the first time, because we block off an hour and a half, but it ends up being more than that. People just have questions, and sometimes just to get the background of your life and your relationship and your family and what's going on, and I'm asking them questions that maybe they never even thought about that might come into play, with regard to whatever their case involves. So between an hour and 2 hours.
You have a long checklist, don't you?
I
Someone
suppose.
should never try to do this
at
themselves.
At this point, I've been doing this so long, it's probably a mental checklist. But there are a lot of things that, and any good attorney will ask, like I said, ask questions about things that you haven't even thought about that might matter. And so, you need someone who knows what they're doing.
Well, yeah. And you know what? Because you brought that up, I know with my divorce, something came up 12 years later, and the attorney did not count on that. And it was really bad for me, not my ex-wife, but I saw that you've got a plan. It's not like once it's over in court, it's over, especially when you have kids.
Right. And that's a good attorney's job is to, and even when whether we're going to trial or especially when we're settling the case, and you're entering into what we call a marital settlement agreement. It's a contract, and you have in Florida what's called a parenting plan. If you have children, you're going to have a parenting plan that's attached to your marital settlement agreement or part of it. And the things that have to go, the detail that has to go in, a lot of it does relate to things that you're not thinking about that may come up in the future. So any attorney who's preparing any kind of contract, whether it's a marital contract or some other kind of business contract or civil contract, your job is to absolutely to think of all those things, all the what ifs, all the things that might happen, that could happen, and you're trying to cover all those what ifs and to prevent problems in the future.
Well, I brought this up because after spending all this time over the years with you with the show, you shouldn't try to do this yourself. This is not the place or the time to try to save money. I know people do that. I've talked to people, and they so regret it now.
Yeah.
They said, you know what, I tried to save money, but, I mean, I look at my position now, and it didn't have to be this way, and
Right.
I should have gotten an attorney.
And I have people that come in and with that very situation, and they'll say, "Look, I have this settlement agreement, and or I had a trial, and I went by myself, and the judge made this decision, or our settlement agreement says X, Y, Z, and something was left out, or something has come up now that there's some other problem that was created by sometimes it's just the lack of having legal advice and not knowing any better, and then I've got to try to fix it, and sometimes it costs people more than it would have cost in the first place had they hired an attorney. So you got to at least talk to one. You got to at least talk to an attorney, get some legal advice. These are big issues. These are big issues.
A friend of mine asked me to ask you. Her husband came.
There's a friend of yours?
Yes, no, really, it really is. Her husband said he was broke, didn't have a dime to his name, but he walked into court with 3 attorneys. Now, are you allowed to bring that up? I mean, here he's telling the judge how poor he is.
Sure.
But he walks in with 3 attorneys.
Absolutely, and
they weren't cousins or uncles. Or
one of the requests that we do in cases. So a lot of times in cases, in every case we do discovery, and so we exchange documents. There's a list of what we call mandatory disclosure, a list of documents that's required in every divorce case, and it's basic things: tax returns, bank statements, credit card statements, pay stubs. There's a list that includes those basic things, and then in a lot of the cases, what we'll do is we'll go back further in time, or go back, in more detail, and ask for or do an additional request for documents. So most of the time, any attorney that has a standard list that they ask for. It'll include your legal bills and your retainer agreement with your attorney. And it's absolutely relevant. Both parties are allowed to be able to litigate on equal footing. So there's a statute on point about, each party's ability to pay for attorney's fees in these cases. But also, absolutely, if somebody says, "Oh, I don't have any money, I don't have any income," well, where'd you get the money from to pay your attorney?
3, not 1, but 3.
Attorneys, so generally aren't cheap. So, absolutely, it's relevant.
Well,
and you're entitled to know. You're entitled to that discovery. To see the bills and see where'd the money come from and what was the source of the payment.
So how do they enforce child support? Because I know the economy has gotten bad. It's been bad for a while. How do the courts enforce that?
The courts,
and I mean, if someone is in another city.
Okay. Well, you have to come to the court and ask for the court to do it. So that no one's keeping an eye on whether you're getting paid or not until.
Oh, they don't know if payments are being made?
It depends on how the payments are being made. If the payments are being made through the state, then possibly. But unless you have a certain type of case that was actually initiated by, there's a certain income level that gives rise to your ability to use resources of what our Department of Revenue. They will file on your behalf, and payments will be through the state, and the state keeps a ledger, and they can do all kinds of things. They can send notices, and they can suspend a driver's license, and all sorts of things like that. But generally, in most of the cases that I handle, child support is dealt with as part of a divorce or part of a paternity action and a parenting plan, and we figure it all out. We get a child support number. Ideally, it should be still going through the state so that there is a ledger kept, or taken out of someone's paycheck. That would be nice, so that you're not waiting for that every 2 weeks or every month or whatever. That you're getting your money directly from the person's employer. But if a situation arises where the support's not being paid, the recipient has to file a motion. You have to file a motion for contempt, and you set that for hearing, and you go to the court and you testify, and you say he or she was supposed to pay this much, they didn't pay it, this is how far they're behind.
Something you do on your own.
No, you can do it through an attorney.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. So, and if your attorney, sometimes you'll have when you settle your case by agreement, as opposed to having a trial in front of the judge. A lot of the times in the marital settlement agreements, we'll put a provision that says, if somebody has to enforce the terms of this agreement, so if I have to pursue you for child support, I can get you to pay my fees, my attorney's fees. So if I'm going with an attorney filing a motion for contempt, I'm going to say, and by the way, not only did this person not pay, but I had to hire an attorney to file a motion for contempt, set this for hearing, come here, prepare for this hearing, and I want my fees to be paid back. So there are remedies, but you have to, and eventually if the guy's still saying, I don't have the money, I'm not going to pay it, or they haven't paid it, the judge can throw them in jail.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, child support and alimony, too, are jailable. So if you're asking for contempt, which is a jailable civil offense, but there are remedies. So, but you have to pursue it.
Well, here's the fastest 15 minutes in radio, actually 18 minutes. We're going to go to break. We're here with attorney Tina Lewert. She's a board-certified family attorney. We come back. I've got so many questions for you. We'll be right back.
Lewert Law Offices is proud to be the family law expert on the Ask the Expert show. Attorney Tina Lewert is a board-certified specialist in marital and family law. Attorney Lewert is committed to obtaining the best resolution for your divorce or other family law case by consistently providing skilled representation, expert legal advice, and personal attention. Attorney Lewert has developed an excellent reputation for providing effective divorce and family law representation in Boca Raton and the surrounding communities. Lewert Law Offices offers legal advice and representation in a wide range of family law matters, including divorce, child custody, time sharing and visitation, child support, alimony, complex asset distribution, post-judgment modifications, and paternity actions. For expert representation in all aspects of divorce and family law, contact attorney Tina Lewert today at 561-544-6861 or visit www.lewertlaw.com.
Hey, we're back here. We're here with attorney. I got this board-certified family attorney, Tina Lewert, because this show is called Ask the Experts. And if you're not board-certified, you cannot be called an expert.
That's correct.
No matter what area of law.
That's right. You cannot call yourself an expert, and you cannot call yourself a specialist even.
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it really is important that, and I want to say this, I hope I don't overstep. It doesn't mean she's the most expensive because she's board certified. Doesn't mean she's the cheapest. It's just, listen, this is so important. Trust me, I've been married once, and divorce, as painful as it is, you got to do it the right way. And you've got to make sure you have someone who's not doing personal injury in the morning and bankruptcy in the afternoon. I mean, this is all you do is family law.
Yeah. And I hate to say it because I don't like to speak badly of others or other attorneys especially, but I see that. Occasionally I have a case against someone. Usually I know if I've never heard of them, I'm going, who is this person? Because all the family law attorneys, we know each other. We have cases against each other over and over. And even when there's a new one or someone who's younger and they're just coming in, you get to know them because they do all family law. And then I'll have somebody who, I'll say, who is this attorney? I go to their website and they have like 15 different areas of practice. And I don't know how they do it. I don't know how I personally don't want to try to know that much.
Right. No, I understand.
I've chosen to specialize. And I think that's, in years past, you'd see a lot of general practice firms or general practice attorneys, like where they sort of do what they used to call it door law, anything that walks in the door. Haha. So, but I think the trend now, what I see more and more just in the age that we live in is just that you're seeing a lot of people who focus on one area. And maybe two, but one or two areas at the most, and I think it benefits the clients.
I know this because I've been working with attorneys for the last 10 years with marketing, and there's so many attorneys who've gotten out of family law. They made a great living at it, but it's a tough business. It's emotional, and it's very, very tough. And so you've survived it. I mean, so
I have, and it's true. It's not for everyone. It's definitely not. Everyone cannot stomach the area of family law and the
exactly what I've
practice of
heard.
family law. But those of us that can and that have, we pride ourselves, and I think that my job is helping people. Part of my job is helping people. And I think that I've talked to people too that have said, "Oh, how do you do this? I can't. How do you do this area?"
Yeah, every
and
day.
I think that it's the people that weren't able to do it, just didn't. Maybe they underestimated what it took. Not just what it took as a person or as an attorney, but I'm saying the intricacy of all the things we have to know and deal with. You're dealing with not just assets and asset distribution and alimony and finances and things like that, but also child-related issues.
Yes.
We deal with child psychologists. We deal with abuse issues. We deal with substance abuse. All these mental health issues that come into play when you're dealing just with people and a lot tax issues, bankruptcy issues. And there's just a lot of things that we have to deal with that are all over the place. And in any one case, you may have 20 or even 40 issues to deal with. And I think sometimes, just in general, I think people and attorneys underestimate that. So
I just was thinking, because I've heard our show down in Aventura before. The station's got a huge reach. You practice law in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County.
Yep, Palm Beach.
And I know you've had people hire you
all over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually have a case now. Brevard. I have a case right now in Pinellas.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's in the Tampa area.
Yeah. Clearwater. Yeah. So I will go all over, and we could talk about different reasons.
That's pretty impressive, Tina. Seriously.
Really?
There's plenty of family attorneys in Tampa, but they chose you.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
And I'm honored when people do that. And I have had people say, hey, I talked to everybody in my area and I like you, or they can't find a board certified attorney that's in their area. I feel like there's a concentration of board certified attorneys in South Florida. There are a bunch of us. And that means because there are only 275 total, that there are fewer in other counties.
Sure.
Or sometimes, I don't know if there's 67 counties in Florida, there may be there may be some counties that don't have any board certified attorneys. So, yeah, I will. There are different reasons that could help a person. There are different reasons that I have clients that say, well, you're going to come in and do you know the judge? Well, no, I may not know your judge. I'm going over to Pinellas County because I don't have cases in front of them all the time. So that's something to consider. But I talk to people about why they may or may not want to have an attorney that practices outside their area. And ultimately, it's up to the client. They have to feel comfortable. You got to have somebody you feel comfortable with. You got to have somebody you feel confident in.
How long does it take to get a divorce, just on average? I know there's a lot of different things that go into it.
I don't know if there's an average. I see everything from within a month, which is rare, to years. Years. I mean, 3-4 years. I will say the judges don't like that. They, if they see a case that is a few years old, they may call us in and say, and set a case management conference, say, why is this case still pending? What is going on? What's the delay? And there are all kinds of different reasons for that. Sometimes you can't get the discovery you need. Someone's withholding documents. All kinds of subpoenas and things go out. If you can't get compliance with those things, it delays the case. I've had other people that in the middle of a case, they'll say, hey, we're going to go to counseling and try to reconcile. We're rethinking the divorce. That happens, and that can put a case on hold. But I would say on average, if I had to say an average, 8 months, a year.
Well, is there a large caseload?
There is.
Like we're here in Palm Beach, so here in Palm Beach.
Yes, these judges have 2,000 to 3,000 cases in their divisions. Each, yeah.
Each?
It's crazy. So, I will say the ones, for example, I practice a lot at the courthouse in Delray Beach, which is called the South County Courthouse.
Beautiful place.
Yeah, really nice courthouse. And there are only 3 family law judges there. They also, though, they have probate. So it's family law and probate in each of their divisions. So the family law and probate, I think yes, they have a total of 3,000 cases each, something like that.
Wow.
It used to be 2,000. Now it's up to 3,000. So I've been told recently. But so even if half of those are family law, that's a lot. And it's one judge, and they have one assistant, one judicial assistant, and that's it. They're managing all these cases.
Wow.
It's a lot. So yeah, the courts are backed up, and that's why sometimes I could say, well, a case may take 3 or 4 months to be done, but if you need to go to trial, you may be waiting 6 or 8 months just to get a trial date.
Are most people come see you, is their minds already made up? Are they still testing the water?
Most people's minds are made up that come to see me, but I have a good amount of people that come and say, I'm not sure. This is a big decision. I'm trying to figure out what to do. I'm talking with my therapist. I'm getting advice, trying to figure out when or if to make this decision and whether it's the right decision for me. But I want to find out all the legalities. I want to know. I have questions. How would this work? What would my rights be? How would my kids be provided for? And so they'll come to me and sort of just on a consultation basis.
Well, every so often I throw this question at you.
Oh no.
Well, because look, it was found. We got 55,000 people watching us right now on Facebook. Why should I hire you?
I'm good.
It's a weird question.
It is weird. I think I answered. I'm trying to think. What was my answer last time? No, I'm good at what I do. I'm very good at what I do. I'm passionate about what I do. I care about my clients. I mean,
it's obvious.
And I realize I'm taking on such a big thing in their life, and maybe the biggest moment of their life, and I take that seriously. That's not lost on me. So that's and I have a good rapport with my clients. It's a very personal relationship, one-on-one. We sort of develop as time goes on, and
this is all you do.
This is all I do.
Give everybody your phone number.
Phone number is 561-544-6861, and the website is www.lewertlaw.com.
If you want to watch the show tonight, you can go back and watch it on your website. Again, the phone number is 561-544-6861. Tina Lewert. Tina's with us every month. We're going to go to break. We've got a criminal law show coming on right after this. Thanks for coming on. We love when you come on.
Thank you.
We'll see you next month. We'll be right back.
Lewert Law Offices is proud to be the drug crimes, firearms offenses, pre-arrest investigations,